곱창에 소맥 한 잔, 소맥 먹다가 배부르면 이제 소주로 살짝 바꿔주고.
Lovely viewers, it is about resilience, support, love, and the human spirit. It is the story of Song Hye Kyo sharing her recovery journey, with Lee Min-ho by her side every step of the way. Recovery is not linear, and Song Hye Kyo's journey reminds us of that in the most profound way. For many, she is a symbol of grace, elegance, and talent, a woman who has faced immense pressures in the public eye and has always come across as poised and composed. Yet behind the cameras, like anyone else, she experiences pain, challenges, and moments of vulnerability. Lovely viewers, have you ever faced a time when the world expected you to be strong, but inside you felt fragile? Song Hye Kyo's story might feel familiar to you in ways that words cannot always capture. Her recovery journey began quietly, away from the public eye, in moments that were ordinary on the surface but extraordinary in their emotional significance. It was not about dramatic hospital scenes or viral headlines. It was about learning to nurture herself, to honor her feelings, and to rebuild her inner strength. And it was here, in these tender moments, that Lee Min-ho became a quiet anchor. He did not rush her healing. He did not impose expectations. He simply walked with her, offering steady support, presence, and care. Song Hye Kyo recently shared glimpses of this process, speaking candidly about how challenging it was to face her recovery alone in the past. She admitted that there were days filled with doubt, days when even the simplest routines felt overwhelming. Recovery, she explained, was not just physical. It was emotional, mental, and spiritual. It involved confronting fears, embracing vulnerability, and learning to trust herself and others again. And having Lee Min-ho by her side changed the way she experienced all of it. Lee Min-ho, known for his global fame and charisma, is often seen as a figure who inspires awe. But what makes his presence in this journey remarkable is not his stardom, it is his humanity. Song Hye Kyo spoke about how Lee Min-ho's support was quiet but profound. Sometimes it was in a smile, sometimes in a comforting word, and sometimes in simply being there without saying anything at all. Lovely viewers, have you ever noticed how the mere presence of someone you trust can ease your burden, without a single word exchanged? That is the kind of support she described. She shared that early on in her recovery, there were moments of isolation. The pressure to appear strong in front of fans, media, and colleagues often made her feel alone. Even surrounded by people, she could feel invisible because no one truly understood what she was going through. And then came Lee Min-ho, who reminded her that strength does not mean facing challenges alone. With him, she discovered that vulnerability is not weakness, it is the foundation of real connection. The pair developed a rhythm that made her recovery feel less daunting. Mornings began with gentle encouragement, small gestures that reminded her to take care of herself, and check-ins that were not intrusive but thoughtful. Song Hye Kyo spoke about how these acts, though simple, became transformative. Lovely viewers, it's incredible how often healing is found not in grand gestures but in consistent, small acts of love and attention. During her journey, Song Hye Kyo faced many emotional hurdles. There were days when progress seemed impossible, when past memories and fears resurfaced, threatening to derail her recovery. But with Lee Min-ho by her side, she felt empowered to face them head-on. She shared that his support gave her a sense of safety she had rarely experienced before. It was not about solving problems instantly. It was about creating a space where she could feel her emotions without judgment and process them at her own pace. Lovely viewers, consider this. How often do we rush through our own healing, trying to fix ourselves quickly to meet expectations? Song Hye Kyo's story is a reminder that recovery deserves patience, compassion, and the presence of those who truly care. Lee Min-ho also adapted to her pace. He recognized that some days required words, some days required silence, and some days required laughter to lift the weight of fear or sadness. Song Hye Kyo described moments of spontaneous laughter during walks, quiet evenings with tea, and shared hobbies that reminded her of joy outside of stress and responsibility. These seemingly ordinary activities became anchors in her recovery, reinforcing the idea that healing is not only about overcoming challenges, it is also about reclaiming joy. Song Hye Kyo's candid reflections revealed another essential layer of her journey: the power of emotional honesty. For a woman who has often been in the spotlight, sharing vulnerability publicly is not easy. Yet she chose to speak about the days she cried without shame, the days she felt lost, and the days she questioned herself. She acknowledged that having Lee Min-ho beside her made it easier to embrace these emotions without fear. His presence was not performative. It was grounding. He allowed her to be fully human. Lovely viewers, let's pause and reflect together. How often do we allow ourselves to fully experience our emotions without masking them for the sake of appearances? Song Hye Kyo's story encourages us to honor our feelings and recognize that doing so does not make us weak. It makes us brave. Throughout her recovery, Song Hye Kyo also emphasized the importance of small victories. Sometimes it was as simple as completing a morning routine, enjoying a nutritious meal, or stepping outside for a brief walk. Each achievement, however minor it seemed, was celebrated privately with Lee Min-ho. These small successes built momentum and reinforced her resilience. He reminded her that progress is not always visible to others, but it is significant nonetheless. In addition to emotional support, Lee Min-ho encouraged Song Hye Kyo to reconnect with her passions. He reminded her that her talents, creativity, and ambitions were integral to who she is, not just her public image. Lovely viewers, consider how often we separate our passions from our personal healing, thinking we must pause one to recover the other. Song Hye Kyo's experience demonstrates that they can coexist and even strengthen each other when nurtured with care. One of the most remarkable aspects of this journey is the mutual respect between the two. While Lee Min-ho provided unwavering support, he never imposed his own expectations on her. Instead, he listened, observed, and responded with empathy. Song Hye Kyo described this dynamic as profoundly liberating. She felt seen, heard, and valued, not as a celebrity or an icon, but as a person navigating her own path to wellness. The recovery journey also taught her about the significance of self-compassion. She shared moments when she struggled with self-doubt and frustration, wondering if she was making enough progress or if her recovery would ever feel complete. Lee Min-ho's encouragement reminded her that healing is not a race and that every step forward, no matter how small, is meaningful. Lovely viewers, this is a lesson we can all carry into our own lives. Be gentle with yourself, honor your process, and allow support to uplift you. Song Hye Kyo's story also highlighted the importance of communication. She learned to express her needs, fears, and limits, while Lee Min-ho responded with patience and understanding. This exchange reinforced trust and deepened their connection. And as we continue this journey, lovely viewers, it becomes clear that Song Hye Kyo's recovery story is not just about overcoming obstacles. It's about transformation, growth, and rediscovering the profound power of human connection. With Lee Min-ho by her side, she learned that healing is not a solitary task. It is shared, nurtured, and strengthened by those who choose to walk with us, not out of obligation, but out of genuine care and love. Song Hye Kyo reflected on the moments that seemed small but carried immense weight in her journey. A quiet morning coffee together, a hand held in support during moments of anxiety, a simple "I believe in you" whispered at the right time. These gestures were not about grandeur. They were about consistency, presence, and emotional reliability. Lovely viewers, have you ever experienced a small act of kindness that shifted your entire perspective? That is precisely what she meant when she described Lee Min-ho's unwavering support. Over time, she noticed that her confidence slowly returned, not as a sudden revelation, but as a gentle awakening. She could engage with the world with renewed energy, face challenges with resilience, and embrace herself without hesitation. What made this transformation possible was not just the passage of time, but the environment of trust and empathy Lee Min-ho helped cultivate. He created a safe space for her emotions, a place where she could confront fears, grieve losses, and celebrate victories without judgment. One of the most beautiful aspects of her journey was the way it emphasized balance. Hye Kyo discovered that recovery is about balancing vulnerability with strength, solitude with connection, and self-care with love for others. Lee Min-ho's presence allowed her to explore this balance naturally. He encouraged her to slow down when needed, to rest when exhausted, and to step back when the world felt overwhelming. At the same time, he gently pushed her to reclaim her passions, re-engage with life, and embrace new opportunities. Lovely viewers, consider how often we rush through our own healing, thinking we must always push forward or prove ourselves. Hye Kyo's experience reminds us that healing is not a race. It is a journey best undertaken with patience, self-compassion, and the right support system. Her story also highlights the importance of emotional honesty in relationships. Hye Kyo learned to express her needs and fears openly, and Lee Min-ho responded with empathy and understanding. This exchange reinforced trust and deepened their connection. She emphasized that vulnerability is not a sign of weakness but a foundation for authentic love. Lovely viewers, have you ever experienced a relationship where you felt safe enough to fully express yourself? That feeling of safety can transform not just your connection with others, but your relationship with yourself. As she continued to heal, Hye Kyo found new ways to nurture her body and mind. Gentle exercise, mindfulness practices, and attention to nutrition became part of her routine, not as obligations, but as acts of self-love. Lee Min-ho participated in these routines, sometimes silently, sometimes playfully, turning ordinary moments into shared experiences that reinforced her recovery. Lovely viewers, how often do we forget that our bodies and minds heal together? Hye Kyo's journey reminds us that wellness is holistic. Another key element of her recovery was embracing gratitude. She learned to recognize and appreciate the small blessings in each day. The warmth of a sunrise, a comforting conversation, a moment of laughter with someone she trusted. Gratitude, paired with Lee Min-ho's supportive presence, helped her reframe challenges, focus on progress, and cultivate hope even in difficult times. She also discovered the power of setting boundaries. Recovery, she explained, is not just about receiving support, it's about creating a safe space for oneself. With Lee Min-ho's encouragement, she learned to say no when necessary, prioritize her energy, and honor her needs without guilt. Lovely viewers, this is an essential lesson. Protecting your emotional and physical well-being is not selfish, it is necessary for true healing. Hye Kyo's journey also inspired her to give back in small ways, sharing her experiences and insights with fans and followers who might be facing similar struggles. By speaking openly about her recovery, she normalized the challenges many people endure privately, encouraging them to seek help, embrace support, and honor their own journeys. Lovely viewers, think about the impact that openness can have. Sharing your story may not only help you heal, but it may give courage and hope to someone else walking a similar path. With Lee Min-ho by her side, Hye Kyo experienced the profound lesson that love and support are not about solving problems instantly. They are about showing up consistently, listening deeply, and providing stability in the midst of uncertainty. Healing became a shared journey rather than a solitary struggle, and through this partnership, both of them grew emotionally, spiritually, and personally. As her recovery progressed, Hye Kyo emphasized that setbacks are a natural part of the process. Some days were harder than others, and some challenges resurfaced unexpectedly. But with Lee Min-ho's presence, even the difficult days felt manageable. She learned to approach setbacks with patience, compassion, and renewed determination, understanding that healing is not linear but cyclical, with growth emerging even from struggles. Lovely viewers, take a moment to reflect. How do you treat yourself on days when progress feels slow or invisible? Hye Kyo's experience teaches us that every small step forward is significant and worthy of recognition, especially when you have someone supporting you along the way. Ultimately, Hye Kyo's recovery journey with Lee Min-ho by her side is a testament to the transformative power of compassion, presence, and unconditional support. Their story reminds us that human connection can turn the most challenging journeys into paths of hope, resilience, and renewal. It shows us that recovery is not just about returning to a previous state. It is about evolving into a stronger, more grounded version of oneself, guided by love, understanding, and trust. Lovely viewers, as we reflect on this story, let it inspire us to nurture the relationships that support our well-being, embrace vulnerability without fear, and walk alongside others who are navigating their own paths. Healing is not a solitary pursuit. It is a shared experience that can transform lives when approached with patience, empathy, and unwavering care. And as we continue this journey, lovely viewers, it becomes even clearer that Song Hye Kyo's recovery was not just about returning to a previous state, but about discovering new dimensions of herself, strength, resilience, and the capacity to embrace joy again. With Lee Min-ho by her side, she found that the path to healing could be filled with light, even when shadows of doubt or fear lingered. Recovery, she realized, is as much about rediscovering wonder in everyday moments as it is about overcoming hardship. She often spoke about the little things that made the biggest difference. Moments of laughter shared over tea, quiet walks that allowed her mind to rest, and conversations that flowed without pretense or expectation. Lovely viewers, how often do we underestimate the power of simple acts of presence? Song Hye Kyo's journey shows that even small gestures, when consistent and heartfelt, can create a deep sense of safety and belonging. Through this journey, she also reflected on the importance of self-trust. After periods of vulnerability, it can be easy to doubt yourself, to question whether your feelings are valid or your progress is enough. Lee Min-ho's gentle support reminded her that self-trust is not about perfection. It is about acknowledging your emotions, honoring your needs, and moving forward at your own pace. Lovely viewers, take a moment to consider how you can practice self-trust in your own life, giving yourself permission to heal without judgment or pressure. One of the most profound lessons she shared was that healing is amplified by emotional alignment in relationships. With Lee Min-ho, she didn't need to explain every emotion or justify every feeling. His ability to understand, listen, and respond without judgment created an environment where vulnerability was welcomed rather than feared. This alignment fostered trust, intimacy, and a sense of true partnership. Lovely viewers, reflect on your own relationships. How often do you feel truly understood, and how does that understanding impact your emotional well-being? Song Hye Kyo also highlighted the importance of reclaiming personal joy and hobbies during recovery. Lee Min-ho encouraged her to engage in activities that brought her happiness, whether reading, creative projects, or simply spending time in nature. These moments reminded her that recovery is not just about healing pain, but about rediscovering delight, curiosity, and inspiration. Lovely viewers, consider the activities that bring you genuine joy. How can they become part of your journey toward emotional wellness? Another element of her journey was learning to communicate boundaries clearly and kindly. Recovery often requires space. Space to process, space to rest, space to explore emotions without interference. Lee Min-ho respected these boundaries, creating a partnership where both could thrive independently while remaining connected. Song Hye Kyo emphasized that learning to say no or to prioritize personal needs is not selfish. It is a crucial aspect of sustaining emotional health and nurturing meaningful connections. Lovely viewers, think about the spaces in your own life. Are you honoring your limits while staying open to support? Song Hye Kyo's story is a reminder that balance between self-care and connection is essential for long-term healing. Throughout her recovery, gratitude became a daily practice. She reflected on the ways Lee Min-ho's presence enriched her life, not through grand gestures, but through consistency, attentiveness, and compassion. Gratitude allowed her to shift focus from what was challenging or lost to what was supportive and present, fostering hope, resilience, and emotional nourishment. Lovely viewers, practicing gratitude, even in small moments, can transform how we perceive challenges, creating space for healing and growth. Song Hye Kyo also shared that being able to express herself openly, without fear of judgment, was transformative. With Lee Min-ho, she could voice doubts, fears, and insecurities, knowing they would be met with empathy and understanding. This freedom to be fully human reinforced her confidence and accelerated her emotional recovery. Lovely viewers, have you ever experienced the relief of speaking honestly to someone who listens without judgment? that safe space is not only healing, it is empowering. As the journey continued, Song Hye Kyo noticed a shift in her own resilience. Challenges that once seemed overwhelming became manageable because she had cultivated both inner strength and a supportive partnership. She realized that recovery is not about never facing difficulties. It is about learning to navigate them with grace, patience, and the support of those who care deeply.